Well, hello again. I hope you're having a great day. We're continuing our little study on bitterness and what should we do when we develop a bitter spirit towards somebody else. We've talked about the fact that we need to try to understand them, what causes them to act the way that they're acting. We've also talked about the importance of choosing to forgive them, just asking God to forgive them and also forgiving them ourselves. That doesn't mean that what they did was right. It just means that we choose to forgive them. In our last devotional, we talked about the fact that we should pray for our enemies, pray for those who have hurt our feelings or who've rubbed us the wrong way or who've disappointed us or whatever. Just pray for them. Ask God to bless them. Remember what I said last time? It is virtually impossible to be upset with somebody whom you're asking God to bless. Now, today, I want to give you one more thing that you can do for those who have hurt you in some way, and that is look for a practical way to extend love and kindness to that person. Now, you may hear me say that and say, come on, John. I mean, it's enough that I'm praying for them and asking God to bless them. That's about as much as I could do. But now you're asking me to express kindness and express love to them. You have no idea what they've done to me. Well, depending on the situation, this may or may not even be possible. But it may be possible, and probably more often than not, it is possible. And so when I say look for ways to express love to them, I'm saying things like this. If you see them at the grocery store, speak to them. Smile at them. If you see them at church or in some, I was going to say at a ball game or somewhere, but now we're not able to do it quite all that. But if you see them somewhere a long way off, wave at them. Acknowledge them. That's an expression of kindness. One thing it's an expression of love. One thing you can do is say something kind about that person behind their back to somebody else with the hope that whoever you said that to will tell them what you said. It's kind of like gossip in the reverse form. It's like a positive form of slander. In other words, instead of saying something negative or mean-spirited, you're saying something kind. So, you could always say something like, well, I know they love the Lord, or I know that they're good to their families, or he's a hardworking man, or, she's a hardworking lady, or they have a good heart, or something. Look for something to say. It's kind. But not just to that person, because maybe you can't even get to that person, but maybe something kind about that person to somebody else with the hope that would kind of be like an olive branch that you could be extending with the hope that you could remember Jesus said we're supposed to be peacemakers. And one of the ways we can make peace is by speaking highly of people to somebody else. I can remember years ago I was talking to a friend, and she was telling me that when she and her husband first began pastoring together, he was the pastor, of course, and she was his wife. But there was somebody in their congregation who did not like either one of them. And especially they didn't like the pastor. And so she tried everything she could do to be nice to this lady. This is back in the 1950s. She tried everything she could to be nice to this, and just nothing was coming of it. Nothing good was happening. And so finally, she had the idea that she would bake this lady a cake and take it to her house. And again, she was extending an olive branch of peace. And so she made the cake, took it to the lady's house, rang the doorbell, lady answered the door, and there stood my friend. And she said, hey, I just was thinking about you, and I wanted to bring you a cake. And from that day on, that relationship changed. And it was an extension of love and kindness that one lady showed to another lady. Now, if 10 people bring you a cake in the next week, you just know that you have offended a lot of people. I hope nobody brings me a cake, because I'll be thinking, man, what did I do to them? But the point is, whether you take them a cake, whether you smile at them, whether you send them a letter in the mail, whether you send them a text or an email, just say, hey, I was thinking about you today, and wanted you to know I love you, and you're on my mind, praying for you, hope all is well, and, whatever. But instead of holding a grudge and instead of being bitter, what I've been trying to encourage us to do these last few days is to look for ways to deal with the bitterness in the most constructive and positive ways. And today, we're thinking about the fact that if we will extend love and extend kindness to them, not only will that mean something to them, and help them in their lives. But you know what it'll do? It'll make our lives easier too. And we're just really laying down those negative, bitter feelings. And so, it's going to be different in every situation. And maybe you've got some way to do it that I've not even thought of as an example. But God will show you. Ask God today. God, as I pray for this person, as I've already forgiven them, as I ask you to bless them, God, show me something I could do to let them know that there are no hard feelings. The air is clear. There's nothing but love on this end of the line. And I want them to know that. So try that today. It'll be liberating for you. And it'll also be refreshing to the person that you show that unconditional love to. Have a great day. Look forward to being with you next time.